another game the offense kind of struggled to get going early on in the first half. What has to change with that going forward?
A number of things has to change. Number one, we got to take care of the ball better. I think we have to have better execution in all phases, whether that's screening, cutting, and then making shots. Just on all fronts, we just have to execute better on the offensive end of the floor.
Coach, two things if we could. First, just in terms of Destiny Adams and what she has done this year, you know what it takes to play in the league, and how close is she, and what do you think is missing for her to get the opportunity to play in the league, if anything?
Well, I don't think anything is missing for her to get the opportunity. I think she's a forward that can, play inside and out. She can handle the ball. Her three-point shot is still coming along, but I don't think there's anything that should be stopping her. I think any WNBA team would love to have a player like Destiny on their roster and contributing to their success.
And just the other thing, I obviously hate to ask, but with Naomi McMillan, just what happened? What can you tell us about what is, where we are, and is this a one-off or is there more involved?
Well, the thing with Kiyomi is, we're going to keep it internal. I read somebody sent me a post that the Kansas State men's basketball coach at one of his recent press conferences, and he talked about his faith and how he sees coaching as a ministry and what he does in terms of leading and connecting with the young men on his team springs from his perception and his understanding that what he does is a ministry. And for me, coaching is not just about what happens on the court on game day. It's about how we impact these young women that are in our program in all aspects, from their character to their growth into womanhood, into their decision making. And so, I see my role as a coach as being more than X's and O's and wins and losses, but how am I impacting the young women in my care? And so that's always going to be first and foremost in the decision making that we do that goes into this program. It's about defining character, growing young people, and so as we deal with different circumstances and situations, for me the first thing is, how are we impacting these young people? How am I using my position and my role as head coach to grow teenagers into young women? And so what we're doing here, we're going to keep the specifics and everything internal, but I'll never turn down an opportunity and turn down this position, use this position to do anything other than have an impact on young women's lives.
Thank you.
Coach, USC came out.
I'm sorry, could you just have the mic, please?
Marvin Chambers, 4.0 Sports Media. Coach, USC came out there. They sped you guys up faster. Did you think, because they came out with so speed, disrupt your offense, getting in the flow of the offensive scheme of things?
Well, I definitely think their length and their athleticism had an impact on the game for us. It had a positive impact for them on the defensive end. They were able to get in their press. They were able to get their hands on balls, get deflections, and get going in transition. And then they shot the ball very, very well, especially in transition. They shot the three ball very, very well. And when they're playing with that kind of connection on both ends of the floor, they're really tough.
USC committed a few turnovers early on, kind of stayed in the game early on, and then they started to get their offense going. What did you see from your defense and USC's offense that they still committed 16 turnovers on the game, but what did you see that kind of got them in their flow?
Well, to your point, I thought early on we got some good stops, but we didn't capitalize on the offensive end, and that gave them life, and their team when you're as successful as they've been this year and last year coming into this year, is that they can get confidence pretty quickly. And I think they got their confidence pretty quickly with their defense, creating those turnovers and getting going in transition.
Coach,
Yeah.
obviously the absence of Kiyomi tonight was felt. Heading into halftime, you guys recorded only 1 assist. When the ball isn't moving as much as you like, and you're not as equipped with players that can possibly create for themselves. How do you combat that, and how do you get the offense going?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, and we tried to play point guard by committee tonight, and have a variety of different people. Get the ball, get our offense going, and as you can see, that was a bit of a struggle for us. So we just keep working on that, and but yeah, it was a bit of a struggle without having our full complement of guard play out there.
Can you say a little bit about JoJo Lacey's performance tonight? It seemed like she seemed pretty aggressive and stepped up in there.
Yeah, JoJo was very aggressive, and really proud of her fight and her tenacity. I think she's a player on this team all year that's kind of operated under the radar, but she's game in and game out. She's found a way to whether it's getting rebounds or getting deflections or knocking down big shots. She's somebody that's playing with a lot of confidence and being a big impact for us, and hopefully we can continue to get that and get more out of her throughout conference play.
All right, Coach. So you mentioned earlier just now about the importance of ministry and being bigger than the game. What was the message to your team after a tough loss like this?
Well, the message to the team was, when you hit adversity, you have to respond to that. And there's a number of ways that you can respond to adversity. And this has, been a tough week. It's a hard week. I don't know many other teams that, certainly they don't schedule it intentionally. And I don't know if they get it scheduled unintentionally, but, to play 3 top 10 teams in a week in a row, that's tough. That's tough. It just got harder and harder and harder every game. You go from 10 to 8 to 4. That's not tough. I mean, that's not easy. That's not easy for anybody, and it's certainly not easy for us we're still working to get our feet under us, and playing a little shorthanded tonight. And so the message is, this is a hard week, adversity, but how are we going to respond to it? We have to respond with the championship DNA that's in us, because we are Rutgers. And you walk into that arena, you look at those banners, and you look at all the people who have come before you and have made this place one of the most storied women's basketball programs in the history of the game. So you don't walk away from this challenge. You get back in there and you fight, and you dig down deep. You find that thing in you that gets you to compete for the next game. So that's the message. It's a hard week. It's tough, but we'll get back at it, and we'll be better the next night.
We have time for one more. Go ahead, Doug.
Hey, Coach. I know you're not going to talk about specifics, but can you at least walk us through the timetable of things? Did you get a chance to practice without Kimoni at all last day or two? Was it today you decided not to have her around?
Again, I'm not going to really go into the specifics of it, but things happen in programs, right? You have to sometimes make decisions, and you have to, as a team, as a program, live with the consequences of things that happen. And we go out there today and we play and we give our best effort, and we'll come back tomorrow and regroup and get ready for Minnesota.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.